Good morning. Good morning. This is day 84 of Fortitude through Stoicism, and this is my 365-day journey of implementing the ancient philosophy of Stoicism into the life of this modern masculine man. Now, the reason why I'm able to do this is because of the guy that you see sitting on the screen here. This is a close friend of mine, Troy. Troy is a licensed nutritionist, dietitian. But Troy, he's the one that gave me the Daily Stoic book last year, I think it was, right, Troy? About a year ago.
Yes, it was the Christmas present of the previous year, 2023, I believe. Or no, 2022.
That's right.
Christmas
And
present, yes.
And I didn't want to start it because, I started flipping. I realized it started in January 1, so I actually put it off until this year. And yeah, I've been dabbling in Stoicism since that initial introduction. But now that I've started my deep dive, for me, it's been life-changing. So one of the things I love doing is Troy and we have an ongoing philosophical debate and exchange perceptions, views. Here's why I love exchanging energy and views with Troy is because I'm a logic-based thinker. Troy is an emotion-based thinker by personality type. So when we're in agreement on something, it's interesting. And when we have different viewpoints on something, it allows me to learn. So, Troy, do you have your book from today? Do you have March 24th?
Let's see if it's close by. Yeah, I happen to have it right here.
So today, and here's the lesson, and this is one of the things I want to talk about because I involved Troy in a little experiment yesterday for me. But the lesson from Ryan Holiday is there's philosophy in everything. And so, Troy, give us the quote from Epictetus, if you could. Today's quote
From Epictetus Discourses 3.21, 5 through 6 goes as follows. It's like a human being. Drink like a human being, eat like a human being, dress up, marry, have children, get politically active, suffer abuse, bear with a headstrong brother, father, son, neighbor, or companion. Show us these things so we can see that you truly have learned from the philosophers.
And so the reason why I wanted to talk is because I read an article in the Wall Street Journal. Talked about 25 years later, we're still in the Matrix. And he went on to talk about in Plato's Republic, the Athenian philosopher Socrates described prisoners who had spent their entire lives manacled in a cave. A fire behind them cast these shadows of objects on the wall in front of them, and the shadows became the reality. They assumed what they appeared before them was real. Now, one of the prisoners escaped. He went up to the surface. He saw the sunlight. He saw that there was, sun and earth, and there was reality. So what he did was he went back to the cave to seek, to share that with the other prisoners, and ultimately returns them to convince them that there's another world out there. And so the philosopher, one of his responsibilities is to free humanity from the illusion and teach us what is truly real. So that is why yesterday, and this is where we're going. Yesterday, Troy, I sent you a little message. Hey, I'm going to play a little experiment.
Mm-hmm.
And what I did was I touched on a hotbed topic. For me, it was either going to be, I wanted something that was going to elicit an emotional response for people to teach a lesson. My entire post yesterday was about philosophy. It had nothing to do with what the topic ended up being, which was monogamy versus polygamy. And it was just to elicit a emotional response. Now, as a Stoic, what do you think about external opinions, Troy?
As someone who is living a Stoic way of life on a day in and day out basis, they're nothing that should be affecting an individual. They should have no bearing whatsoever on that individual, how they act, what they do, what their will is at that point.
because it's within our control. So if we allow someone else's opinions to affect us, we're allowing that in.
Well, it's my opinion of their opinion that's affected me. It has nothing to do with their opinion. It's just how I perceive what that opinion ends up being and how that relates to me. Now, does that create some type of stir emotionally from some past wound, some other past thing? And that's all, a typical part of the process. And I know me just personally speaking on it, it's one of those things that's like, it's so ingrained in us for so long of a period of time to be affected by these things that it's almost like a natural occurrence. And then when you start to look at it from the different perspective of like, oh no, this is me and my thoughts and the feelings and opinions that create my thoughts and feelings and opinions, it becomes a lot more freeing. Doesn't mean all of a sudden you've solved everything, but at least you're like, oh shit, there's actually a way to kind of get rid of that for, in this mindset. And that freedom is what I feel draws me to this type of a mindset of kind of rolling through.
It's interesting because in the past, I was always one to defend my position, thinking I'm right, believing I'm right, knowing I'm right, all in the past. So when I say yesterday, because on this, this video blog that I'm doing, I say that I'm implementing, the ancient philosophy of Stoicism into my life. And so what does that look like? I did a test yesterday to really elicit emotional response. And for me, in the past, I would have been combating every single negative comment in there, because I love a good debate. But I paid it no attention. In fact, truthfully, I forgot all about it. I was going to read them at the end of the day, but I had such an amazing day. I mean, we went to the Food and Wine Fest. I got to play with the giraffes. I got the most amazing forehand massage. That's a good thing, by the way, for me.
Yeah. Yes. We had discussions on those things in the past.
Yes, we did. So truthfully, at the end of the day, I had all this experience. I totally didn't even think about that. And so today, when I did check it, I scrolled through and I said, yep, here's exactly what I thought was going to happen. There would be a bunch of reactions, there would be a bunch of things. And I'm completely indifferent to it because none of it actually matters. None of it matters. None of it matters. I did my little picture of my giraffe and I moved on. So the reflection in this and the lesson in this for me is that this journey is working. Complete peace yesterday.
Yeah.
No emotional response. And now listen, I'm sure that could happen, but I know that I have the tools to put that aside. So this is where I'm at in my journey, man. I gotta tell you, it's been surreal. It's almost like you get a cheat code now. And when you watch other people who have no emotional control, I almost have pity on them. I know that's, according to justice, perhaps that's not the right thing to judge someone, but
I would think that would be anti of what's the route of what we're trying to do anyway. And again, maybe it's a different perspective on it, but as you just kind of self-corrected, I don't think that's actually the way it should be, because pity puts people in positions. So if I put pity on somebody, I am now elevating myself over that individual as I am better than you, and I pity that you are not as good as me. And that's kind of what that energy is. So it's not a while we can look at it as I'm trying to give positive energy, pity typically is received. Like if you receive pity, you would not want pity. Like, don't give me your fucking pity. Take that shit somewhere else. But what we do want is empathy, of an understanding, because here's the thing. Okay, so you've woken up, I've woken up, we've seen this perspective. I was able to get out of the shackles and go actually see this shit. Well, some people down there in those shackles, they're fucking scared. And they're so scared. And to them, the thought of anything else besides this is even more scary than this. At least I know this scary, so to get sometimes to open some of those perspectives, it starts to become a lot tougher. And having the empathy of the fact that we, you or me or wherever stages someone's in, that they're willing to go into those spaces of, let me look at this differently. Let me try a different mindset or a different understanding of it. Like, just because someone else isn't there yet doesn't mean that they're worse off, at they're not doing it the best way. It's just that maybe they haven't had the opportunity to do it, or haven't had the right individual to give them the comfortability to be able to say, I'll take that chance, I'll give it a shot. Because again, there's a lot of that involved, I find, in creating, no matter what the fucking change that anybody's trying to do.
No, and I completely agree. And the one thing for me, I guess maybe pity isn't the right word, but like knowing that we are all holding the key to our own prison. And I
Yes.
want them to see it, because oh my God, like once I found mine, I see the world completely different. And then
Well,
it doesn't be the same. Like I just need them to understand. And
it's hard. It's fucking hard, man. It's hard when someone doesn't. I get it. But at the same time, because again, I know that you do coaching and counseling and stuff like that, and you gotta understand that I do this every fucking day. I'm in, either within a group of individuals trying to elicit change in health and nutrition, or one-on-one individuals, and the majority of the people I'm working with are either substance abuse or mental health. So there's always this emotional shit tied into all of this. And, with that, it's like, what I started to realize with myself is I would start getting upset with the people that I'm trying to help, because they're just not seeing what I'm trying to explain to them. And I'd be like, "What the fuck? Like, come on! Like, don't you see the shit? It's fuck." But it's so easy when you're on the outside, because there's also shit in my life that I know, like, I'm trying to work through and go through. But it's like, it's tough to do it, to see it from the inside, and that's why it's always having the outside. But at the same time, I had to let myself off the hook, as you were saying. Like, I just want to tell people, like, dude, this is what you got to do. Like, just do this shit, and it's gonna be great. You got the freedom, but you also have to give yourself some compassion and space of like, hey, man, you can only help who's willing to be helped. And if they are not willing to be helped, it doesn't matter how, what the teacher is. Now, don't get me wrong. We can become better teachers and try to get the message where it's more receptive to more individuals, which, part of the process I find is very, very important in that. But yeah, you can't help, you can't save them all. I say it to myself all the time. You can't save them all, brother. Just got to do, sometimes it's a check the box experience and we're moving on.
Yeah, so in this journey, I've been continually looking at ways to find ways to, increase this experience. And one thing I want to share with you is I did get this app. It's called Stoa, and I don't know, it's like $12 a month. But what I've done is it actually has a guided meditation there, and that's one thing that I've been really struggling with, was my meditations.
Mm-hmm.
My mind started going in a million different directions. But with this Stoa app, I sit in the sauna, and I make sure that I'm in there for a little bit, so I'm good. I'm roasted.
Put yourself in a physical space.
Then I use this guided meditation, and walks me through this. I'm focusing on my breathing, and boy, I tell you, it's been impactful for me. And again, it's another thing that I'm doing in my daily disciplines, just to really maximize this experience, because already, we're not even three months through the year yet. And it has literally changed my entire way that I feel and see the world and, experience things. So I want to thank you for such an amazing gift. I really do.
So, my pleasure. My pleasure. And, it's in a way, it's a gift that I gave to you. And I've given this gift to quite a few people. In fact, that year, that was kind of like the book that I started to pass out to a lot of individuals, because I had used it for a good portion of that year and I found a lot of value out of it. And I was basically, call it what it was. I was giving that book out to men that I felt could benefit the most themselves and could use it to benefit others the most. And that was the individuals that, throughout my day, I bought, I think 8 of them or something, 8 copies of it. And I was like, okay, these are, if I came across somebody, like, that's someone I want to give this to, or I had a few people in mind for it. And, again, while it was a gift that I gave out, it's interesting because many of the people that I have given it out to are in contact with me regarding the readings of it and the discussions of it. And, so it's like, I got a gift of like, building a bit of a Stoic kind of peer group in a way. With a guy I sent to you the other day, my nephew sending me his text. I got him, kind of part of the process of us working together was getting into that, and he's loving it. He's like, man, this is like life changing. And now he's an officer candidate for the Marines, so he's going to be leading men, possibly in whatever combat, So it's like, I'm like, that's an individual that needs this type of mindset, that needs this type of relationship with themselves. So yeah, I mean, the pleasure's all mine. Yeah, I appreciate that we have the feedback and discussions on it.
Yeah, no, and that's what they call about rising the tide raises all boats around you, right? I mean, you're exactly what you're doing. You're raising the tide around you, which is going to raise the men around you, which is going to raise the men around them. I mean, this is the type of leadership that we need. I mean, again, I'm not going to go down too much that lane, but good, healthy masculinity, it seems is suffering these days. It's in very, very short supply.
Yeah. I mean, I think, it is and it isn't. In ways I do believe so, and in ways I don't. I think that there is a lot of stuff blown up a lot that media-wise to make it seem that way. Again, more whatever, not going too deep into it. But yeah, there's definitely some interesting things going on with it. Yeah, especially as I'm sitting here looking around, we got the Pride Parade going on currently. I'm getting ready to get kicked off over here. I am literally locked into my house. Because remember I was saying I'm like practicing Stoicism as we speak. Yes. To really, really influential things and like I said, friction type events. I walked out to go do some yoga this morning and get ready to go in my car, and there's a puddle of oil underneath my car. Just like, okay, I'm like, that's not good. That should be in the engine, not on the fucking ground. So there was that scenario, and I was like, all right, it's Sunday. I'm literally blocked into my house. I cannot get out. Like, they just barricaded. All the streets are closed around me. I am literally a prisoner in my own home as far as vehicles go. So it's like, okay, I can't bring this thing out to get fixed. Nobody can come in to fix it. The shop or the last place I got it, they're closed today. So it's like, what can I do? I can really do nothing. I have zero control over it. I can fester. I can be like, mother, this and that, and stress about the amount. And like, all right, and that definitely was starting for sure. What I noticed from that was I have Duchess here, and that energy transformed very, very quickly. I saw her get on edge when I had to relive what happened. Why are you back from yoga? You didn't, and let me tell you, obviously I had a little bit of emotion still with it. So I noticed her shift, and I'm like, okay. And I came outside and I just sat here for a few minutes and took some breaths, and I was like, all right, man, like, this is a really, really, one of the things, writing my stuff out, the first line that I write every single day is, I will receive challenges and encounter difficult people today. And like, literally, that is the purpose of setting up, of like, expect this shit. And if you can expect it, like, now that it comes, like, how do you deal with it? And from doing that and doing some of those practices, I got up, I went inside, gave her a big hug, made her feel good, of like, it's okay, I'm fine, everything's good. Make the breakfast sound, smells, like, and within that, it just kind of settled everything, settles the energy, settle it all. And, you can process, and yeah, it doesn't mean that you solved your issue, but you can definitely approach it in a rational mind that I have control over. And, my mantra is, I'm going to choose peace. If I am angry today, I will choose peace. If I'm frustrated today, I'm choosing peace. If I'm scared today, I'm choosing peace, because that will give me what I'm looking for. No matter what the emotion is, peace is what the emotion is, what I want. So trying to make those shifts, and it's like, it's a work in progress. I'm about to have a parade go through here.
And again, we'll kind of end on this, but you utilize a principle of Stoicism, negative visualization. Like, hey, listen, this is the worst that can happen. I understand that. Like, it's real, it's there, it is what it is, but I'm still going to enjoy my day. I'm still going to do my things. I'm not going to let it adjust my headspace. So I will focus and take care of that. But again, that's one of those things. If you are prepared for things, and you prepared mentally and emotionally for them, right, then it gives us the tools and resources and the ability to get through those things without getting taken down by the emotional drain. So awesome.
Yeah, man.
Awesome. Well, guys, this was really cool, and I hope to have Troy on for a lot more conversations, maybe on Sundays, because I love being able to engage other masculine men, definitely in good, healthy, intellectual conversation. Was that a big mug you're drinking out of? Is that a horn?
Yeah. Fucking thing is awesome. It's held so much water. It's awesome.
All right, guys, we will see you next time. Appreciate you so much.